Hello, everyone. Welcome to Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis. Very grateful, very humble to be joined by Matty Denz again. Matty, welcome back to the show, mate. It's been 12 months. We're just talking off air how it was 3 years since I first had you on the show through Jason's course. Heaps has
Yep.
changed since then. Yeah, what's been going on? And welcome back to the platform, mate. I'm very happy to have you here because there's been a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world. And yeah, keen for an awesome
Yeah,
chat today. This is also our second.
absolutely.
This is our second take of an intro. I fumbled through the first one because Matty's changed his name back to his real name. And anyway, Matty, welcome to the platform, mate.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm really excited to get back on a call with you and have a nice conversation. They're always good ones.
Mm.
And yeah, a lot has changed. It's funny how time flies when we were chatting about getting back up, and it was like, oh wow, yeah, that was April.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty much a year ago at this point. And Kalen would have been 2 months old. He just turned
Yes,
one. So I think that last call, he was in a little wicker basket,
he was
the
at your
lounger
feet.
thing. And yeah, but I don't think he made a peep that call.
No, you didn't. And you were talking a lot about how you were going through the hospital stuff and the trouble that you guys had had. You kept
Yep.
speaking up and saying no to all the things that the hospital does. And yeah, you said it was a very interesting time of your life, and you just come off the back of that. So
Yeah.
how's things now?
Things are awesome. Things
Yeah.
are going great. So in terms of the health, if you will, um, yeah, my son just turned one, and people want to get all up in arms about, injections and protocols. And when you do something that's different, um, and all you have are the results to speak for it, it's like, that's pretty much where I'm at with why I chose not to vaccinate my sons, because my soon to be 5 year old and now my 1 year old are healthy without them.
Mm.
And dare I say, healthier than if they had gotten them. And so what happened, so April, I was probably still making all my videos about just like what flavor of the day style, maybe even conspiracy kind of
Yep.
was floating in my mind, or
Hmm.
I was up to speed a lot of times with current events, if you will. But then I would do some weird deep dives about just random stuff, and I was a bit all over the place, if you will. And I remember, I think it was October, maybe right around there. Um, I just saw an article about COVID again, something ridiculous about the COVID vaccine.
Yep.
And I was just sitting with Kaylin on my couch, and I just had some things to say about it. And I was like, oh, I'll just put the overlay of the article. And it got like all these views. And up until then, I had some videos that gone viral and whatnot. And I was thinking of myself as building a presence and a following based on my content that I was sharing. And I just said to myself, I'm editing these videos and going into these deep dives. And I'm like, I just was sitting on my couch one day and saw this ridiculous headline and was like, hold on a second, pause, and let me sit you and tell you what I think about this. And so it was kind of like a moment where, from a content perspective, I just said, let's do that again and see what happens. And the same thing happened. And I was just slowly talking more and more and more about vaccines. I don't even remember why, to be honest.
Mm.
Like, I think I think since November of last year. So what is that? Like 4 months, for like the
Yep.
past 4 months, if you will. I feel like I've just become a guy that's speaking on vaccines on the internet,
Yeah.
you know, and that just has like a shift about it for me, that it's interesting to watch how that shift, which plays out online, is actually also changing my life in real life because of the change in the way I'm viewing what I'm doing. Right. When it was just like, well, whatever, I'm just the guy that's speaking his mind confidently because he's done the work, right? And he's confident in what he's saying. And he feels like it's a message that needs to be said. That's how I look at myself as a man. I'm doing these things. And but now I have a mission. Now I
Mm.
feel like I have a true purpose with the messaging or why people might want to hear what I have to say or are drawn to a message that I'm speaking, you know. And it's one that I take so serious because it's so close to home in terms of once I became a father,
Mm.
this evil that I was opining on or trying to get aha moments against, and you're not going to get me, and being called a conspiracy theorist and whatnot, that world suddenly turned into wait. And I think Jason actually has spoken about this, or it's just a natural growth progression. I feel like if you're in the truth or conspiracy worlds, you get to a point and you have to be honest with yourself and say, wait, is all of this information even remotely doing anything to make my life better?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Or is it actually worse in a way? You're more stressed or more anxious or more obsessive over things that you can't control, or like you're in a bad mood. You're it's Are you doing the things to make your mind, body, and soul healthier because that's ultimately what they're after,
Hmm.
right? Like if especially if you know what the vaccine agenda is all about, it's like, oh wait, they're getting that pure source, highest charge battery there, and that's when they want to start their psychopathy. And so, man, we got to protect that at all costs. And yeah, I just feel like I'm more driven by a purpose, which also aligns with the leveling up of all the work that you and I have done with working with people like Jason, and just once you get that certain awareness and that bug, if you will, for personal growth and development, it never stops. So, I think having my second child also just reaffirmed everything of like, man, I imagine if my son, the way he is right now, and I'm coming home from a doctor's appointment, all of a sudden I'm like, why is he acting like that? It just breaks my heart, man. And
Mm.
the more it breaks my heart, dare I say, the more I still get angry, you know.
Mm.
And it's something that I can't not uh feel like I'm doing something about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like, but it was good, all that work that I had done, building up a following, getting my online coaching business going, being a bit of a guy, once I never really like calling myself a content creator, but like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I make reels, I'm a reels guy, but yeah, it's just interesting how, my bad, man. Let me try and
You're
get
right.
some notifications going on here.
Oh, the world of a content creator. Mine's all on do not disturb, mate. Just a little heads
Yeah,
up for you.
so
Yeah.
I apologize. Oh, that may happen again, so it's probably better than me spending any more time trying to fiddle with it. But yeah, it's funny you say that though. There is a lot of go 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 in my life right now too. Um, some of those videos, legitimately, I'm like scrambling just to have a minute, like to record something and upload it, just to stay consistent. Um, Consistency is key, right, for
Mm.
anything you're going to do.
Mm.
If you want to do something and do it well and progress at it at a faster rate than most people would, then you have to put in that extra kind of work that most people don't. And I was always one of those types of people, man. If I got into something and I was really into it, like there was no stopping me. And don't stop me because it won't stop me. Like I will become unapologetically selfish with those types of things. I did that with the drums. I've done that
Oh
with
yeah.
jujitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I became obsessed. It was,
Mm.
there's a funny story. I say, I was working in a pizzeria. My buddy had a pizzeria, and I would go work from like 9 a.m. to 9 at night, and the place was 45 minutes away. So it was a long day, and I was in the thick of my drum obsession, if you will. Um, and I was dating this girl, and this was before cell phones. So I remember I was in my parents' kitchen that had a combo landline phone fax machine, and it was on this big wheeled like chopping block, wooden like chopping block that was never used as a chopping block. but it just like had stuff on it, and the telephone ended up on there. Anyway, I remember calling this girl after my shift and being like, "Well, yeah, I'm going to go play my drums for like an hour, and then if you want to hang out after." And you know, needless to say, that wasn't in her plan. And she said, "Oh, that's my competition, the drums." And I was almost like taken aback and like insulted. I was like, there's actually not a competition at all. And that's how it ended. I stopped hanging out with her because like I just knew right then and there that wasn't going to work at all. And it wasn't worth it to me to make it work because that's how dedicated and consistent I was with like, I just spent 12 hours on my feet. The first thing and only thing I want to do is go smash on my drums right now.
Mm,
And if you don't understand what that's about or even respect it, like as you're meeting me, like what's the point of us,
mm.
finding this inevitable roadblock where it's like you're asking me not to play the drums. No, we've already established like that is a priority of my life. There's no wiggle room there. And
Yeah.
I did the same thing after my divorce when I started getting into the martial arts, where there was that meme that was a joke of, and I shared this too. It was like all my friends are planning baby showers and birthday parties, and I'm over here trying to win my next jiu-jitsu tournament. And it kind of was like that. I was moving back in. I think we've spoke about this. I probably went through this story
You
with you,
did,
one
yeah.
of the first times, right? Yeah, moving back in with my parents, but then I was getting into the martial arts and I just became, as I say it, unapologetically selfish about the chip on my shoulder about I threw in the towel on being a rock star because of my soon to be ex-wife, which was a victim's narrative. That wasn't true. I now thank God for my ex-wife and what she did and helped me, become as a result of our relationship and up until how it ended, right? Um, but there was just like my 30s were self-development, reading books, getting into meditation, getting into the martial arts, um, remaining relatively single, like not getting into relationships because I didn't want to share my time with that stuff. Working as a waiter because I could work a Friday night, all day Saturday, and maybe Sunday if I wanted to, and make like $1,000 cash, and then be at the gym the rest of the week. And while other people may have been looking at me or thinking about that, like, because at that point, then you have, you have, was supposed to play football in college, drops out, becomes a professional drummer, meets a girl, goes back to college to become a high school chemistry teacher,
That's right.
is getting a divorce as he's graduating, is now in Thailand fighting, and is coming home and saying, I don't think I want to be a teacher anymore. I just want to train. I'm doing this thing called Brazilian jiu-jitsu now. And, my mom used to send me openings and ads for teachers and just like respectfully decline, Mom, I'm not really, I don't want to do that. And part of it was actually, and thank God, right? Nate, like think of where I'm at in terms of my views of the world and how outspoken I am. Imagine me trying to do that under the public school indoctrinated, hierarchy of politicalness. Like it would have never worked,
No, you would have got kicked
or
out.
it would have prevented me from becoming who I am. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah, and
mean?
you also would have got kicked out too in that process.
Yeah.
Might have
Yeah.
gone, yeah.
So, but the great thing about it all is I am a teacher,
Mm,
which, I'm was clearly meant to be a teacher. And I always have felt like I was a teacher. And that's why when I did go back to college, I was like, I'll be a teacher. Um, and I just like, yeah, I like that it's on my terms, right? Between, I own my own gym. So I've created my own culture with my own vision. And I teach my students, certain principled way of fundamentals and learning. And then I built a school community, so I teach there. I feel like my reels are informative.
they are
So
very.
yeah, I'm always when I was younger with sports, like I was trying to teach my friends how to play hockey so we could all play hockey. Like I got kids into certain sports. Like I just always wanted to share and teach. I just if there was knowledge or things that made me feel good, um, or I was into it. Like I just wanted to share that joy with other people. And yeah, I think that's naturally how then I landed in where I'm at with like teaching.
Yeah.
Um, but I would have been so confined and conflicted if it was in the public school setting, because mind you, I was not in the place that I'm at. Like there was no, I, I wasn't, there was no red pill moment yet, right? I would have vaccinated my children if I had kids with my ex-wife. I would have circumcised my boys. They
Mm.
would have gone to public school. I have unvaccinated, uncircumcised homeschool children
Fuck yeah.
for a reason. That's a big shift. That's a major shift in the way two human beings are going to grow up in this world. And it was done through that growth, if you will, and that shift of okay, what do I want to do? What did I really want to get out of my life? And I now have a new chance at it, a new lease, if you will. Um, I really did look at it like that, like a reset button of, okay, man, well, what do you want to do? And I don't even think I knew at the time necessarily, but I knew that I wanted to follow whatever that sound, that compass, that energy, that thing was inside of me that I had started to quiet for other people over the course of some years. And I just returned to it with a vengeance. And yeah, here I am 15 years later. Like I said, I have my own gym. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I teach people, all ages because my soon-to-be 5-year-old was 3. The first year I had the gym. So I started a toddler's class basically just because of my son. And so now my son's going to be 5 and he's already nasty, man. Like he's been training for 2 years with his
How good's
dad. Just
that?
like he's always at the gym. Daddy, what class is it? I'm like, oh, it's the big kids class and then the adults. Okay, is EJ going to be there? Asks about certain students or their little brothers that might tag along. All right, can we go to the gym? It's just awesome. What,
That's
what could
so
be better
good.
than that?
Yeah.
And I had no relationship like that with my father, like
That's
at
true. You
all.
spoke
There,
about that in the last chat too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also strange in my opinion, I think to be as involved as I was in athletics and have no connection to your own father who's in the home, right? It's not
Mm.
like he was estranged or divorced, but none of that comes from like your dad teaching you or doing it with you. Like that was my mom's brother. Well, I attribute a lot of that to like some of the baseball stuff, but yeah, it was just not the type of relationship I had at all. Um, and so to have that with my own boys,
That's
or
awesome.
at least with Drist, right? Because Kalen's only one, so it's to be determined if he's going to want to be at the gym and training and whatnot. But I imagine he will be because he's going to be the little brother. I can tell he's already more. Uh, there's more energy in him, wild energy. He's more of a untamed animal
Look
in a
out.
good way, right? In a
Mm.
good way. But Drist was a little more reserved, if you will. But yeah, I think that happens with boys too. I mean, I was
Mm.
the third. I was the third and final boy, fourth of 5 kids, and yeah, like you know, I would destroy both of my brothers in a fight right now. And like growing up, I was like, my it was usually me and my one brother versus my oldest brother, and yeah, he would always just tune me and my brother up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to have 2 sons, man. Like just because I don't know, I would have liked a daughter. I wouldn't have been against a daughter. I was really super excited to have Trist and my first child to be a boy. I'm not gonna lie there. But then it was like, hey, if he has a sister or a brother, but now that I'm raising 2 boys, and I'm just so excited to see Kalen kind of get out and about more. He's starting to walk a little bit, and like once they're really able to kind of roughhouse, if you will, as 2 brothers, like I'm excited to see what that's going to be about.
Mm.
Because there's no really conflict. Like we don't yell at Drist. Siobhan and I don't yell at each other or fight. There's nothing. There's no like energy like that in the house. But I grew up with 2 brothers, and I know what that energy is going to be about. So it's going to be interesting
Mm.
to see how it's going to play out.
Oh,
You
that's
know, and
beautiful.
will I still be able to have that, power in the pause when it's, and then next thing, I quit it, like I said, stop.
Uh, that'll be a big test next few years,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
Look out.
yeah,
No,
for
I love
sure.
how proud you are, and I love the way you talk about your kids. And for me, listening to that, I'm only 31, bro. So
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to that part of my life. It's something that, yeah, I have a lot of guests on that are fathers, as you know, and yeah, it's awesome to like hear you all speak and then be like, you know what, I'm keen for that next, whenever that is, that
yeah,
that next
yeah,
phase of my life, and it's just awesome, bro. I just love hearing you
yeah,
speak about it.
yeah. And I'm truly grateful and feel blessed. I met Siobhan when I was 38, you know, and that was after coming out of a relationship of like 2 years, 2.5 years, um, and kind of chalking it up to, all right, man, like back to how I was, like ready to just be a bachelor, like not even just no, like there's other things that I can put my time and energy into. I guess that ship sailed. I grew up thinking I was going to have this big family. I always wanted kids. I don't want to say it was like turned off by, but I remember I had some girlfriends or even people if they were speaking and they're like, "Oh, I hate kids." I would always just be like, "What?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, it rubbed me the wrong way. Like, you were a kid. What do you mean you
Yeah,
hate
I
kids?
say the same thing.
You hate yourself? Like, what part of a kid
Mm,
do you hate? What do you mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't resonate with that at all.
neither do I.
Um, but yeah, I remember saying to my parents, I'm either going to end up having children with this woman or I'm done. Like that's that. Like I'm not. I had done the online dating scene, like not really did that scene, but was on some apps and yeah, I just was. I was in my 30s only 10 years ago, right? So 10
True.
years ago I was 36. Like I saw the world. I've been through being born in 1980. You get to see a lot of like blocks of
Yeah.
transitional programming and times and you know what I mean? Like I remember adult life with no cell phones. I remember teenage life with no internet, then internet. Like it's crazy what you can see going on in the world and shifting and whatnot. So
Mm.
that was a bit of an aside there, but yeah, I am proud of my kids, Nate, and I am proud of being a dad, but you have time. And oh, so what I was saying was, yeah, I met Siobhan when I was 38. I tell my parents, yeah, I'm gonna have probably gonna have children with this woman. And it wasn't even like that was necessarily then planned, but yeah, it all worked out where the stars aligned.
Mm.
And we met, remember, I think I told you this. We met because she walked into where I train under and was teaching at the time and walked in and literally said, I was told to ask for Matt. So like, and now we have two kids. So like, talk about, I don't know what you want to call it, but synchronicity, if you will,
Yeah. Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the divine hand.
Mm.
Um, once kids get involved, there's higher powers at play, if you will,
Yep.
for how two people met. So yeah, and that also stemmed from the reason that happened was she got into a situation in a parking lot where I'll still call him a bozo. Some bozo like sticks his foot in the door when she's trying to get into her car, leaving a store. And she got the door closed eventually and left, and nothing really happened, but certainly spooked her. And it's funny because in terms of gratitude and the way you always want to seek out the positive in things and always know that any negative or perceived negative event or experience will always have it's the balance of life will always have its positive. So choose to find the positive. I would still probably want to defend Siobhan if I ever saw that in a park, and not probably I would go and rush to the aid of whoever would need it in that moment. But I would shake that guy's hand if I ever saw him. I'd be
Yeah.
like, yo, dude, you don't realize, like, if you didn't exist and you didn't do what you did, you wouldn't have spooked my wife and the mother of my children. There would be two humans no longer, ever in existence. And so it was a big lesson for me, or an example. I probably had that lesson in mind, but hey, seek out and find that positive because it's like a balanced spectrum. So when people have negative things happening or they're thinking about things negatively, perfect example that I always use is somebody has a job interview. Well, what if I don't get the job? Don't, if your mind is going to start spinning narratives that you are creating, choose the positive. And
Mm.
if you're already spinning the negative, which most people do, the positive, well, I can't think positively. I don't know. You take what you're already doing and you flip it. You do the opposite.
Mm.
I'm probably not going to get this job. I'm getting this job. And the interview's not going to go. What if you? The interview's going to go awesome. Like it's easy. It's too simple. It's hard to put into practice. It's hard to be, so it starts with awareness, right? Is what I tell people. You got to be aware of that and start playing that game with yourself, you know?
Yeah. Love those. Love the tangent. There's so much to talk about through all that, mate. Yeah, because
I bounce around a lot. Sorry,
nah,
Nate.
no, it's good because I say the same thing in everyday life to people as well. You know, I'm always that guy now that will give someone a confidence boost and be like, because they'll come in negative. And it's like, well, yes, you just dumped all of that there, but like, what are some positives in that experience? What did that show you? What did that teach you? Their head starts ticking over. They start thinking about the answer, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, maybe there was, you know. Oh,
No,
I was on
absolutely.
time. I'm like, well, there you go. You're at least you're on time because they might be always late. You know what I mean? Like, there's some
Yeah,
examples as
yeah.
well. And you were talking about how you met someone. Well, I've met someone recently too, and very similar. But we actually started on the app first, and I was always of an impression that she would see me, I wouldn't see her. Turns out we met 10 years ago, and we went to the exact same university. I walked
Oh,
past
wow.
her. Yeah, get this story. I walked past her in a lecture. She saw me. I didn't see her. 10 years later, she does her thing. I do my thing. I moved out of my old hometown. She lived there as well when she was at uni, a block away from my old house. So we were a block away from each other, never met. Then I move up to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, just above Brisbane. She's moved here. We meet online, and she's like, I've seen you before. Then we meet up, go on a date. Rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history, as
Yeah,
they
we
say. That's
never actually
wild.
met in my old hometown. We met
Wow.
up here. She's been here 12 months. I've been here 3 years.
Wow.
There's a story for you about divine
Yeah,
intervention, or
man,
whatever you
that's a
want to
good
call it.
start right there. That's a good start right there, bud. I like that. I like the way that story's.
Yeah.
I
2 months in
I
now,
mean,
but
hey,
yeah, it's awesome, bro.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's great, man. Congratulations. That's
Oh,
great.
yeah. Yeah. So
It's
that's a.
really,
Mm,
yeah. And you know what? It's funny that because I was just talking with someone at the gym today about dating. They're in their 30s and just like online. And I'm just like, man, thank God. I,
yeah.
I just glad I'm not in that world.
I was in that
And
world
I
for
don't
a
mean
bit.
to, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's so because society's just so jaded right now, and it's so inorganic, if you
Yep.
will. Some of these types of meetings between people, it's almost like going on a job interview, or you feel like you're,
Mm.
are you checking these boxes before you're even
Yeah,
human to human?
I did all that in the last 12 months. And then when I met this woman, Britt, who will be happy to listen to this, it was like our first date wasn't even a first date. It was like we'd already met each other before. Like, we were like
Yeah,
just, it wasn't even a job interview or a fucking resume fucking thing. It was
yeah,
like two people who were supposed to meet fucking made it happen. You know what I mean?
yep, yep.
And it
That's
started
beautiful.
online. Yeah, we spoke for probably a couple hours online. Then I just got a number and then we met like 2 days later.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah, no, that's not like a standard online
no, it was a bit of a. I think
start.
as you were talking about higher powers at play,
Yeah,
there were some
for
higher
sure.
powers at play there for sure. But we were talking on about this yesterday. Like I was looking at like different events to go to, like conscious events, meditation circles, like breathwork stuff, cold plunges on the beach and that. It's funny because she was looking at events like that too around that time. So it's like we would have met in person anyway if we had just gone to those, like, we're going to go to
Yeah.
those events. But it was like,
Yeah.
we would have met anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, you
Wild,
guys
eh?
have met now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wild, eh?
great. Yeah, that stuff's very interesting. And I think when you feed that fire, fuel it when those things do happen, like I always do. I'm a numbers guy, when I'm like, oh, there, thanks for the trail marker, or there you are. Like, okay, I know I'm doing something right. I
Yep.
looked at the clock, it was 3:33. It's
Yeah.
I'm never not seeing that as affirmations, if you will. I call them trail markers.
Mm.
Like, you're on the right path, man. So you're doing something right. Somebody thinks you're doing something right. They're trying to let you know. That's how I look at it.
That same year.
Yeah, because why not, right? And
Yeah.
the power of the mind when you do just the power of the aware mind to choose positivity is incredible. And if you think of that as like just your baseline fundamental
Mm.
of what I'm trying to do here, you start there. You say, I'm trying to be more aware of how I can choose positivity in my life. And so you got to start with the awareness. And again, the easiest way is like the elimination or the reduction and what you are already connected to. So it's like, okay, become aware of when you're choosing negativity.
Yep.
Don't think about being positive yet. Don't think about, oh, I need to be more positive. Oh, this guy tells me I need to be positive. Like, no, no, no. Start becoming aware of the negativity.
Mm.
And you start there, right? Like the awareness of the thing. That was big for me with smoking weed, like
Yes.
bring the awareness to like, why am I doing this? Why am I hitting this bowl right now? Because I'm about to go to the gym. Why am I hitting this bowl right now? Oh, because I got done with the gym. Why am I hitting this, smoking this joint right now? Oh, because, I'm about to go to sleep. It's like there was always a reason.
Mm.
So in the moment of doing it, like there was always a reason, but because I wasn't asking myself those questions, right?
Mm.
But when I started asking myself those questions in the moment, it was bringing the awareness to the moment of then not even guilt, just like, yo, you want to start choosing, different behaviors. They start in these moments with the awareness. And another one that I use is I haven't had a Coke or a Pepsi in almost 15 years, probably.
Wow.
Well over 10 years. But I would still have like a ginger ale. But like I'm done with all the soda drinks and whatnot, and the companies themselves. Coca-Cola can, is evil, but
Yep.
and same with Pepsi. But
Yep.
like I would still get some ginger ale, and then all I started doing was in the moment, instead of the ginger ale coming off the shelf into my cart, because I'm not then aware. It's just, oh, I might crave this bubbly soda-like drink later when I'm having dinner, so put it in my cart now. It's no, turn this thing around that they call ginger ale and look the ingredients in the eye. And
Yes.
when it's, carbonated water followed by high fructose corn syrup, and then I logically and truthfully have to say to myself, oh, so I'm tricked into consuming liquid high fructose corn syrup because of the way it tastes or feels in my mouth before I swallow it. Wow. And like, is that really worth it? And I call myself a health coach, and I live a healthy life. So it just becomes easy with that awareness, and you hold yourself accountable to that, and
Mm.
you become consistent with it. Because I couldn't tell you the last time that I have grabbed the ginger ale, but there were plenty of times where I would still grab it, then I wouldn't, then I would grab it, then I'd look and put it back. It's like the iterations. It's not necessarily repetition. I forget who I heard speaking about this recently, but it was spot on for me, and I was like, oh, that is so true. It's not repetition because you're not repeating the same thing over and over and over until you get to a certain level. It's iterations of doing something that are like chipping away like a sculptor would, oh, because I did this now, okay, that
Mm.
didn't work or that goes away or that's the experience point that's going to help me, on the next level to the next boss and whatnot. But it's more of, you know what I mean, right? Like it's it's an iteration, not a repetitive um, behavior yet. And so, yeah, that was big for me, like just kind of thinking about that. But you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. So and think of it like a spiraling staircase. You're either spinning your wheels in place, getting nowhere, or you do that long enough that it becomes like a drill, and so you're actually regressing. Like you're going to spin yourself into the ground, so you're going to lower. Or you can use it, think of it more like something like a tornado, and you're using that returning back to the same concepts and the same iterations at a higher level of awareness. And so you're growing and ascending and learning. And so, yeah, that's what I try and do. I try and choose the growth, choose the positive, choose the iteration with awareness of, okay, yeah, I'm one step closer to that next breakthrough. Because it's like an outline. You have your Roman numeral and then a letter and then numbers. Like you can only ascend to the highest level before a breakthrough. And then it's like the belts in jiu-jitsu. You have stripes on your belt. You get a white belt, then you get 4 stripes, then you get a blue belt. Your 4th stripe, hey man, my next progression is the new belt. And until they think I'm ready for this new belt, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm capped out here. Like I have to do what blue belts do. I have to show that I'm a blue belt. And now I'm a blue belt. And then, so it's the same thing with your own kind of personal growth. You have to figure out, well, what's that one impedance? What's that next, like video game style, right? Like what was that secret that I still didn't get? That I'm missing one genie,
To get to the next level.
to get to the next
Next
level.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you just got to be aware of that. You want to make that a practice in your life. And once you get some experience under your belt with like that being shown to you to be true of like, oh, wow, I'm really in control of what I will let my mind do and what direction it's going to go in. I am in control of that. Now, like the sine wave of life, are there high days and low days? Absolutely. But you're in control ultimately, one way or the other, of how you respond to that rather than react. But to turn a reaction into a response requires awareness, requires work, requires guidance, if you will, requires protocols, requires consistency. It's like any type of learning, requires iterations, requires leveling up because you can tangibly know that you've leveled up, right? Like you have to be able to also have that conversation with yourself, not necessarily a pat on the back, but it is good to celebrate and acknowledge yourself, but to have that also third person awareness of, oh, no, wait, no, I am getting better. And that's a good thing. And I acknowledge that. And I want to be better. And if I'm getting better and it's because I'm doing X, Y, and Z, why would I stop X, Y, and Z? Keep on going. Mm. And every now and then you're going to get off track. Some people more than others, but it doesn't matter. Like the greatest performers, the highest of the high, still get off track. They still are on that spiral. They're still returning. So, yeah, I try and make this is with jiu-jitsu again, the analogy with jiu-jitsu. This is so true. My jiu-jitsu game is very fundamental. It's not jazzy. It's not, flashy. I have just always taught the fundamentals. So I was blessed with that. Like I was a blue belt that was teaching white belts.
Yeah, right.
And because I went from like being the intro guy to just like making a class out of it. I used to walk you around the gym. I would show you, talk to you for a little bit, do a couple moves, demonstrate some stuff, and see if you wanted to sign up. And no joke, my sign up rate was 100%. If anyone did one of those sit throughs with me, they signed up. And at the time, my gym, they're my buddies, but the professors, the owners of the gym, I was getting like a commission off of that. And I think they just were like, yo, man, like Matty's at 100% here. And I think it was a business move where it was just like, why doesn't he just teach like an orientation class rather than we're constantly just like
feeding this guy cash,
feeding him part of our business essentially, right? Like I think, I'm sure there was a component there of that. But I was happy to start teaching, like wipe my tuition clean. And I just started teaching like basic stuff, the stuff that you needed to learn like how to fall on the mats, how to shrimp on the mats, how to do a forward roll, basic stuff, and then I'll teach some fundamentals. And yeah, man, I mean, I was doing that in since 2013. So I was teaching my game and my game was developing and it was always fundamentally based because I was teaching beginners. And I knew what it took to become a white belt to a blue belt. So like there was that personal experience, but there was also then the I wouldn't call it a curriculum, but there was just like this is what is the difference between a white belt and a blue belt. So this is what you need to start doing. This is what you need to get better at. This is what you need to develop. And then when you show that proficiency, like you just know you're there. So um, I apply that to my life. Well, what are the fundamentals of being a human being? Right?
Yeah.
Like don't poison it for one. Humans don't like being poisoned.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental truth. I
Mm-hmm.
live my life that way. And but humans are fallible and they can be programmed and programs are hard to shake. And so, do I still poison myself with alcohol occasionally? You know, um, so again, it's a summitless mountain. You're just constantly returning. Do I drink a hell of a lot less than I ever used to? Absolutely. You know, but it's funny, like talking to a guy like you, coaching people, who are either, alcoholics or have been through rehab or trying to get through any vice, really. Knowing alcohol is poison, but still chalking it up to like, but yeah, I'm still willing to poison myself because of X, Y, and Z. So that's more of a philosophical discussion I have with myself because I'm still trying to figure that one out, you know, when I know I don't have to do it and I'm still holding on to something.
Mm.
Because I'm like, when I drink, I'm just like, yeah, but I didn't need to drink there. But like because it's Denzler Fest, my Oktoberfest family thing and
Yeah.
a tradition. Um, Super Bowl house, me and the buddies I grew up with, and some of these guys I've known since kindergarten. The one was the center on the football team. I was the quarterback. Like, these are my boys that we all grew up. But we also grew up doing stupid stuff. And so like every year, this is the only time some of us will see each other, but we rent a house and it's for the Super Bowl. We don't even, everyone's driving home Sunday. We don't even stay and watch the game. It was just like a reason for the guys to get together. Like this, is how this Super Bowl weekend has morphed. It used to be family, well, not families with the kids, but like wives were involved. And it just has funneled itself into like a dude's weekend. Um, but it's still relatively poison filled weekend, between some of the extracurricular activities. And it's just interesting, I wonder when will that, and even if I wonder if that shift will happen where I'm like, no, I can still, even though it's my boys, but here's the programming in it. They're my boys, and we started smoking weed when we were 13. We were smoking a pack of cigarettes a day when we were 14. Drinking beer every weekend by the time we were 14. Did acid for the first time when I was 14. We partied. Like my childhood was interesting, but we're all still very close friends. And so I'm the only one that's essentially on that like health, like
Yeah, right.
hold on a
Yeah.
second here, guys, like everyone's showing up with beer guts each year. And
Mm.
so it's interesting.
Mm. I got a
I'm
question for you.
still, yeah.
I got two questions for you about all that. You know, well, be deep, bit personal, but is that a part of
Hey, I'm
you?
fine with that, brother.
Is that a part of you? Like, set. No. First question is, do they follow? Like, do they know what you do outside of stuff? Like, do they know your views
Oh
on
yeah,
everything? And
yeah, yeah.
are they on this path too or not?
No, no, no.
No.
Like I'm the crazy friend. Like I always have been, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I mean we're all very close. But no, like during COVID, um, um I was the conspiracy theorist. Um, but they know that I'm the way I live my life.
Mm.
Um, and some of them, it's funny, like some of them will reach out to me, um, and want some advice about stuff, and I help them out. And in general, my buddies are pretty healthy. I'll give them that. But like, there's no awareness about, sure, you're not an alcoholic, but there's just no awareness of the health and the choices of why we're putting what we put in our body and how it impacts
Mm.
us.
Mm.
And that's just common. That's very common
Mm.
in America and where I've grown up. And
Mm.
it's just there's no awareness. Alcohol is very, I mean, I don't know what it was like in Australia for you. I mean, I know your story, but it's it's just so accepted and
Yes, Australia too.
pervasive and normalized,
Embedded in the culture, mate. Like the fabric of the
embedded, bro.
society. Yeah.
Like sewn in, stitched in, stapled in, like not just woven. It is in, man.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Mm.
And so, yeah, um, it's an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, a couple times a year, I'm going to drink in excess, most likely, right? I'm not going to be blacking out, thankfully. But like, yeah, I'm going to drink and have what would be called a buzz. So yeah, it's just interesting for me because I respect you and like guys like Jason, and it's like, no, man, why would I do that? And it's like, yeah, man, I've gotten it down to like a handful of times a year, but I respect it. It
Mm.
deserves respect,
Thank you.
Nathan.
Thank
You
you,
know what I'm
man.
saying?
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
like
Mm.
especially if you were coming from a place that really had its claws in you,
Mm.
and the monsters, were pulling you down. So,
Mm.
bravo to you, young man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you deserve that respect for
Mm.
for real. And it's great to just connect with people on the other side of the world, walking a similar path, and being online is great. I'm getting messages from people now. It's crazy. Like someone in the Philippines was like, "Oh, I didn't vaccinate my babies because of you." I was like, "Hell yeah,
How good's that?
awesome."
Mm.
Like it's a crazy feeling, but it's like a good one. But it's almost it's weird in a way where I'm just like, because I do feel proud, and I do feel like that baby. I know that baby's life is completely different, and if that parent is legitimately being like, "Yo, your videos helped me make that decision," I feel very, very honored and like happy about that.
Yeah.
And it's a reason why then it's like, again, the iteration. Well, I made a video or videos and people are telling me they're making different health decisions for their families. Okay, well, why would I stop making videos that are helping other people do that?
Yep.
Why would I stop trying to teach people like who have no awareness yet about this like vaccine world? I thought they were safe and effective. The tide's turning, man.
It is.
It
I
it it,
agree.
it is. It is. And unfortunately, you can make like the analogy they control the tides these days, regardless. So like, who knows what they're going to do to rug pull everything about this tide that is turning, in my opinion. But I'm still riding that wave, and I'm happy to see it. And when I do make some of these videos, and I see comments from somebody who's like, "Yeah, my kids were unvaccinated. They're 34, 26," and I'm like, yo, you were doing that 34 years ago? Like, you're a legend. You
Yeah.
paved the way. It was so much harder. You were
Yes, it
that much
was.
crazier. You
Yeah.
were that much of an outcast, black sheep.
Mm.
So it feels good to know that there's real change happening. And to feel like you're a part of something like that, it just motivates me more, man. It really does. And that we were talking earlier, like hence the name change. It's
Yeah.
because I wanted to get verified because of again the what it means to the viewer in terms of how they're going to be receptive to that message. It's like the same stuff Jason talks about. Like it if it can prime the mind to, learn, let's do it.
Yeah.
So if it's the crazy guy talking about vaccines versus a verified however you want to then describe that person, but they're verified. That's an actual human being. That's who they are. They're standing by this message. In my case, he's a father, right? I'm walking the walk. I'm giving you play by play essentially.
You are.
Um, you know what I mean? In
Yep.
real time for the viewer to make their own decisions. And it has had an effect where, okay, people are saying, well, okay, yeah, all right, well, man, my mom's a perfect example. She was a pediatric nurse for 50 years in private practice. Do you know how many ear infections she's seen, how many vaccines she's administered, how many sick
Yeah.
kids? And she goes, Matt, your kids are just different. And I go, well, yeah, you want to know why, mom? And she's like, you're making me think, she'll say, I've seen her leave comments on some videos. And so like a friend will be like, oh, Kaylin's so cute or something. And then I'll see my mom leave a comment and it'll say something because I think it was about ear infection. She's like, all I know is that those boys have never had an ear infection and it makes me think, is what she said. And it's like, again, it breaks my heart. I'm not saying this to be like, look at my kids. It breaks my heart because it's not that you have to do anything special. Just don't do this thing that is poisoning your children. But
I
man, oh
had,
man, is it a tough program?
I
Is
know,
it a tough thing to shake?
I had ear infections as a kid, and I've only just recently connected that back to the needles I had when I was a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, listen, can unvaccinated children get ear infections? Absolutely.
absolutely.
Okay, right? But it's it's night and day. It's night
Yeah,
and day.
yeah,
And it's night and day across the board for everything.
yeah. Because a
And
lot of unvaccinated kids take less time to get over the whatever it is, as opposed to the ones that have had all the jabs are just sick all the freaking time. That's the
yeah,
big
yeah,
notice I've noticed in my friends' kids that aren't, as opposed to kids that I know that are. You know what I mean? Like kids in the
yeah,
mainstream school system are all jabbed, as you know, and then there's ones on the outside that are they're sick for like 2 days. These kids are missing like, you
yeah,
know, they're gone for like a week because they're fucking
yeah,
got chest infections
yeah,
and all this stuff. Like
yeah.
it is night and day, also chalk and cheese.
Yep, yep, yep. Oh, is that an Australian saying?
That's an Australian one for you, yeah, chalk and cheese, bro.
Chalk and cheese. I like that. I might start using that.
Yeah, I would.
That flows off the tongue nice, like chalk
Yeah,
and cheese. All right.
yeah, yeah. There you go.
Um, yeah. So it's it's interesting times.
Your video about SIDS was good too. I watched that before I jumped on here. That was a good video you did about SIDS.
Thank you. Yeah,
Mm.
there's always going to be the naysayer. There's always going to be the opposite point, or well, this is why that happened. Like
And the funniest thing on
you,
your
but
content is that you highlight those people. You go, comment of the day or whatever you put on there, and you say
the
thank
hater of the
you, and
day
then you
award.
tag them
Well,
and
when they
say
get crazy,
yeah, then you say thank you for your comment.
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny.
One guy, I don't know if you saw the other. Yeah, and you know what? I was torn because that's also can be perceived a few different ways,
Yeah,
but I kind of
bullying
weighed them
and
all. And
fucking yeah, yeah.
yeah, or just, why are you paying attention to your haters?
Yep,
Why are you giving them credence, if you will,
that's
or
true.
your time and energy?
Yes.
But honestly, I've gotten such good feedback from people like, "Yo, I love the hater of the day. You better stick keep on doing that."
Yeah, it is
And
funny.
I get a good chuckle out of it
Yeah.
myself. And so I think even though it's now Matthew Denzler, and I do feel that there has been a conscious shift and maturity, if you will, of my content and what I'm trying to do with it, and I stand by that. I think something like a playful hater of the day, when these people are saying the things they're saying, and then I'm just here to show you, like, because you can almost always know the reel to go watch that triggered them. Like, I'll be like, oh, he didn't like learning about SIDS. He didn't like learning about a vaccine insert. And then you can go watch the video and be like, this is what that gentleman or that lady if I dare call them gentlemen and ladies
Yeah,
after
who
how they,
knows?
leave certain comments, but that's what they decide to make their donation into the world of Facebook or Instagram for
That's
the
it.
day. But iterations, again, back to iterations. I used to go back and forth. I used to get sucked in. I used to have to try and explain myself or think I had to explain myself.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And,
I
but
noticed
I
that with
feel,
your content.
yeah.
Mm.
Or maybe a lot like I've certainly, again, a reduction before an elimination and a growth or an addition through subtraction, like a lot less engaging with a laughing emoji on a comment or replying with the clown gif.
Yeah.
Like I'm now just scrolling through until I have a showstopper and I'm like, ooh, wait, that might be a contender for hater of the day here. And the one the one I got today, I wish this girl, woman, I don't know, I wish she had a profile picture because her comment is so insane, but I have to post it now like with nothing. Man, these people are wild. But
Yeah.
that's how you know they're triggered because they're just name calling like it's a playground, me
Yep.
personally, attacking the
Correct.
messenger.
Yep.
And similar to the jujitsu journey, this isn't my first rodeo, guys. Like you can't, it's not gonna happen. You
Mm.
just you can't operate like that.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. Um, so I'm
Mm.
trying not to get sucked in. Every now and then somebody still might get to me, but iterations of it. So I just, yeah, I'm not back and forth as much. And I started consciously thinking of replying as a future viewer reading. And that was a big shift. I'm no longer just communicating with somebody, I'm leaving a mark of how I respond, how I interact, how I still choose to teach or lead, right? So I'm really becoming more conscious of that as well. And so again, just stop replying to the people what's the point? And if I do choose to reply to somebody, have it try and be something where I'm showing that I'm replying to you, but I don't need to come back with an attack. I don't need to mock you or tell you why you're dumb or you're crazy. Um, I'll maybe just reiterate something that I said or tell you, where to go find the information yourself
Exactly.
if you
Exactly.
choose.
Yeah. Mate, love chatting with you, love connecting with you. To sum all of that up, mate, if someone's listening to this right now and, they've learnt a lot about consistency and about growth and about mindset and about all the things you spoke about today, mate, what would be your advice to that person to maybe start their journey towards maybe you can separate this to finding out the truth about what's going on in the world and then what's going on in their own lives as well.
Um, I mean, that one might be a deeper task about the what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
right? Versus what's going on with themselves.
Yeah.
But like, I know what you mean. I know what you're asking there. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's its own thing. But where to start, or again, it's coming back to the awareness. But awareness without action, you're going to be suffering.
That's
So
true.
it's almost that's where the ignorance is bliss comes in. So it's
Yep.
it's once you have an awareness. So you got to just start something where you're consciously choosing to do it because you're telling yourself I'm doing this for the betterment of my life, the betterment of my physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health, whatever it may be. And honestly, like the thing that I do for all of my clients, if they're not already doing this, it is such a good practice and it can help you start framing the mind in the place it needs to be. Just start gratitude journaling.
Yes,
Just
I do
grab,
that.
yeah, just get a journal and start writing down. I am so grateful for, when you wake up in the morning and fill it in 3, 4, 5 times a day. Doesn't matter. Say the same thing, but nothing too
Love
small,
that.
nothing too big. Start there
Mm,
and then connect again. Be aware of you're not just doing it to do it. Be like, hey man, I'm pausing to choose to put myself in a state of gratitude. And I know that if I do this repetitively, and if I do it ritualistically, and if I do it daily and consistently over enough period of time, this will change my state to be more full of gratitude.
exactly.
It's just a given. and then you'll have more to be grateful for.
I love that.
And you start there. You start with gratitude, I
I
think,
love
because
that.
you can apply that across the board everywhere. So, some people say, it's too much, it's overwhelming, there's so much to do. Okay, just start becoming grateful.
Yeah. That's a good
Just say,
piece of
I'm
advice.
grateful. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
I
I
love that,
normally don't do
man.
well with those types of
No,
questions,
that's a
Nathan.
good one. That's a good one. When I'm interviewed, I say gratitude too. When people interview me, I say, well, yeah, just find something you're grateful for. Find three things, find four things, five things, however many things. Just find something. 'Cause there's always
Yeah.
something in a day that you can sit back and reflect on. You know what? I'm grateful for that experience, positive or negative.
Yeah.
Where
No,
can people
exactly.
find your legend?
Uh, so mostly Facebook and Instagram. So Matty Denz should pull up both of them, but
Yep,
Matthew Densler now on Facebook and Matty Denz. I changed. My old handle was Master Deadly. I
yep,
changed that to Matty Denz. Just to keep it consistent. Once I changed Matthew Densler, but Facebook or Instagram.
yep.
My school community
Yes.
is the Healthy Truth. So there's links to that on both of my bios, or you could just search the Healthy Truth on your Discover
Or
community
we
for
can put them in
school.
the show notes. People can just click straight on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
sure. If you want to put those links in the show
Oh,
notes
well,
for
for
me, that'd be
sure.
great.
Yep.
I'm trying to be more present and shouldn't say trying. I know I need to be more present and put more time, effort, and energy into being more present on X, YouTube even. But it's just I'm grinding in other areas still,
Yeah.
So Facebook and Instagram were like what I used and what I scrolled. So that's kind of where I've grown from.
Yep. Nice, man.
And for whatever reason, they're not censoring me as bad as
No, they're
like
not.
I don't get it. I don't get it, but I'm not
Maybe
complaining.
I don't know what's going on there. What have you done?
I think I think part of it could be because I'm a personal profile and I've had one since like 2010
Yes, mine's the
and
same.
like and the gym and I always had a lot kind of going on or I always used it and maybe I just snuck under the cracks there,
Yeah,
and I never
because
said
mine's a
anything too.
personal account too. Mine's the same as what it was when I was fucking 16.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
same. And like I didn't once it started growing, I had to make the choice. I'm like, well, I can't start a page and ask people to start following that. I'm like, I just got to run with this.
Yeah, I'm the same with
And
mine.
so yeah,
Mm.
But yeah, man, thank you so much for having me again,
Nah, I love
Nate.
it, bro. We'll have to
You're a
do
legend in
this.
your own right.
So are you. We'll have to do it. We'll have to do it every few months, not everybody. We say that last time, and 12 months went by like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. For
Nah,
real, man, for
yeah,
real.
nah. It's good to connect with you and good to talk to you. And my audience, I assume, love our pods together. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I was able to meet you during the Jason's group and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, really
Likewise,
awesome to
man.
see you, mate. Keep kicking ass on social media. I'm watching you from afar, and I'll comment and like on a few of them. I often sift through the comments you get that are negative, and I often laugh at those as well. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it
sometimes,
makes me
yeah,
laugh now for real. Like that's what it does. I laugh. So it's good.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you, Matt, for your
Thanks,
time
Nate.
and for your energy. And I know it's late over there now, so I really appreciate you staying on and
Yeah,
having a chat. And mate, good luck with everything you're doing. I'm still watching from afar and I support you, love you, and all the things, mate. So we'll have to connect again soon. Cheers.
absolutely, brother. Love you too, man. Peace.